After dark, baby.
Don't do it.
Get the fuck out.
You all know what? Rudiger killed the defense.
Oh, how dare you.
When he fired off that shot today, it's not defense. When he fired off that shot today, it was the first time all season I was sick of it. Okay.
Amend.
Why?
Amend.
Because okay, so for a couple of reasons. Number one, like it was cool when he was like our player, and it was like, oh, Rudi, and we were winning most games. But now, like again, it's like 3 or 4 matches in a row, and it's like it's not fun or funny because we're losing. Like so, it rubbed me the wrong way there. And number two, it's like, okay, well, he's only got 4 matches left at Chelsea. So, you might as well blast from 50 yards. Like that's what I would do because I'm an asshole. And then number 3, it's a wasted opportunity. You can't tell me, I know we would just side pass and back pass 8,000 more times, but you can't tell me that wouldn't lead up to a better goal scoring opportunity than Rudi blasting it into the 50th row.
It wouldn't. Because it didn't. Ever. Like there was legitimately, and I said this on the podcast, Matt, you didn't hear this, but I said this on the podcast that it legitimately was one of our best attacking options that we had. It was closer than goal than Timo ever fucking smelt.
Well, yeah, Timo was off by that point, wasn't he?
No, he wasn't. But he came closer to goal than Timo ever did, is what I'm trying to say. So is it a bad effort? Probably. But is it a better effort than anyone else did? Was it a better effort than Kai Havertz had on goal? Yes. Was it a better effort than Mace had on goal? No. Mace had a better effort on goal.
You look at the probabilities, though, of what's going to happen, and Rudi does that every single week, right? We know that. That's an established fact. How many has he scored?
One.
Timo Werner, runs around like a chicken with its head cut off every single week. We know this, right? But he scores once every, 4 or 5 weeks. So there's better odds if you don't do that. Is my fit. And it was the first week that like creeped into my head.
But he does that usually once a week. Rudiger does once a week. So he has 1 shot a week. And Timo Werner has more than 1 opportunity a week to score. And so I think your stats might be a little skewed because of that.
Probably. Can't tell me how I'm supposed to feel, man. 2022 America.
And you can't tell me how I'm supposed to feel. And if I tell you that I feel like Rudiger shooting is one of our best opportunities, then that's how I feel.
Yeah, that's
legitimately how I feel. Like
touche.
I usually am so much against this, and that is why I can confidently say that I'm for it, because I'm actually for it. like usually I fucking hate this. And when I look at what else we have going on, I'm like, well, you might as well, because I would do the same thing. And not because I'm leaving, but because it is legitimately the better opportunity to score. Like, because he actually like puts a ball near target, and he had a ball that got saved off the face today. Let's not forget that. So he almost scored.
So this is what it feels like to be Parker, just sitting on the outskirts, just letting the banter go. I like it.
It's great.
Yeah, Collins, you're wrong. I'm just gonna say that. No, you're wrong. I understand what you're saying, but no. Yes, he's leaving. Why should he play any different than what he has been doing, and which is one of the reasons why we all love him? Why should he change now?
Can he change his defense back to good defense though? Marcos Alonso.
Wow.
He didn't play great defense, but he didn't play bad defense.
He saw Frank Lampard and decided, you know what? I'm going to play exactly how I did when Frank Lampard was here.
He didn't give up the goal.
No, he didn't give up the goal, but he got run over several times. Run over, run through, run around.
That's because he had an early yellow card. What else is he supposed to do?
He's had early yellow cards probably 4 or 5 times this season. I've never seen him this year play as badly as he did today.
But he didn't play bad today. He didn't play great, but he did not play bad.
He played more controlled, I thought. Like,
don't pull up whoscored.com.
That's what I'm doing.
Do not pull up.
Literally what I'm doing.
Because I don't give a fuck what they say. I watched the match.
I'm curious.
I watched the match. He didn't play bad.
I watched the match too. I thought he played terrible.
I don't think he played bad. I don't think he did. He played fine. Like, did he take on early yellow? Yes. And then he played fine and he didn't give up a goal. Like, if we won 4-1 today, are we talking about Rudiger at all?
No.
And that has nothing to do with him. That has everything to do with our finishing.
I know you don't.
If we finished our goals, then we don't talk about Rudiger. So therefore, we shouldn't talk about Rudiger.
That's why I'm talking about him in Pod After Dark. This doesn't count. This is a made up world.
Well, Pod After Dark is Parker after 5 beers, and I'm going to tell you how the fuck I feel. And I don't think we should be talking about him because it's not his fault. Today was not his fault.
Two rules of Pod After Dark. We do not talk negatively about Rudiger. The second rule, we do not talk negative about Rudiger.
Or Marcos Alonso.
No,
we can talk about him.
Yeah.
I defend him more.
Specifically for the fact that you are. Let me figure out the right phrase. Giving him Hummers on the pitch at this point. So that's where you're at over the last week.
No. I said it last week, and I said it very clearly, and I said it very clearly at the start of tonight.
We all know what you meant. You can read between the lines.
I'm respecting Marcos Alonso. I'm respecting Marcos. I'm respecting Marcos Alonso. It just so happens that he is the new Jorginho in the grand scheme of this pod.
I really just hope that you don't get like grass burn on your knees. That's really my biggest concern right now, because that can be damaging, and you don't have great knees. So I just want to make sure that you're being very conscious of that when you're down there all the time with Marcus.
Have you guys been following the Johnny Depp thing at all? To go super off topic.
I refuse.
It is hilarious.
Did you see the video where the Amber Heard's lawyer is like reading his text messages? One of them's like something like, I got some other use for your throat or something like that.
That won't hurt or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I read that correctly? and the guy read it like 3 times. And he's like,
can you read that again?
He's like, you're still reading it perfectly. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. So that was my one deviation from Pod After Dark. Sorry.
Anyways, who scored? What did they say about Rudi?
He was the second best defender for Chelsea.
Yeah.
If we're talking about a back 3. Thiago Silva, number 1. Dave was the worst out of the back 3, which Dave gave up the goal, so he should.
Yeah.
That's fair. Matt, what you missed on the actual pod was my dismay in the fact that, unfortunately, our best attacking opportunities today and against Manchester United were whenever the ball fell to Marcos Alonso or to Reece James or to Rudiger. Like those were our best opportunities, which is not a good thing. Like those are very bad statements to make as a fan. Those shouldn't be the opportunities that you get most excited about, like where you have the most enthusiasm to score. And unfortunately, those were the most enthusiastic I was as a fan to score, was when like a ball fell to Marcus's like left foot, and I was like, oh, but that shouldn't be the case.
We've talked about that in depth, and it reminds me of something I saw relating to Liverpool probably 4 years ago when they had Salah, Firmino, and Mane. It was like Liverpool's team, and in the front it had like a Lamborghini. In the middle it had I don't know, like a Volkswagen or something, and in the back it had just some rusted out piece of shit car. I think you could kind of flip that. We have a piece of shit up top. Solid midfield, not recently, but still a very solid defense. I don't know, like the offense just, they can't figure it out right now. And unfortunately we've gone through this stretch numerous times this season. We don't have a true number 9, a good one anyways. Timo had a good run of form, but that's wavered out. Mount is playing better than he did for a fair amount of the season. Christian, I mean, he's doing Christian things for his 20 minutes. Ziyech, I think, needs to be involved more. I think he's more creative, especially when we're looking at teams where we know that they're going to sit back. Timo's not going to do shit against that. Kai can at least link up, but you need somebody to create, and that is definitely a forte that fits Ziyech very well. I would have liked to have seen Mount on the left, Ziyech on the right, and then Kai up top. So I think that was a bit of a misjudgment, but then again, I don't know what's going on with Ziyech, why he hasn't been playing as much as he did before he got injured, because he was on that great run of form, then he got injured and then just kind of disappeared. It was nice to see Kova back. I don't know.
He's our best midfielder.
Yeah. I don't know if Jorginho had a knock like right before half or anything, but I didn't think he played bad.
Tuchel said that he had to take Jorginho off, so I don't know if he had like a knock midweek and was only scheduled to play 45 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't play bad. He did classic Jorginho stuff. I don't think he was a liability, so to speak, but in a match like that where you don't have to constantly play a ton out of the back, or at least as high a pressure as you would see with like a Liverpool or something like that. Like, yeah, Everton did have a high press a few times, but RLC I thought had a great match. But yeah, having Kova who can actually take it himself and run that box to box, I think that's what you needed. And I understand Kova's coming off injury. And who knows, maybe it was just to give Kova 45 minutes to kind of get him back, right? You just throw Jorginho out there for 45 and then you bring in Kova. But I think things definitely changed with Kova out there, as opposed to Jorginho, because Jorginho is essentially a fourth defender, right? He's not going to push up too high. He's not going to be somebody you're expecting to hit a shot from outside the box or anything like that. But yeah, I don't know. I think that there are more issues up top, and at this point we just kind of try our best to weather the storm and just see the season out. I don't know what else can really be changed at this point.
When Jorginho and Loftus-Cheek were out there at the same time, it felt confusing as a fan because it felt like they were both trying to do the same job, and neither of them understood what the other was doing, and it was very, very confusing, and both of them felt confused of like who was doing what and what their roles were. And so when Kova came on, it felt like that settled a lot of that issue up, because Kova changes the game.
Mm-hmm.
He really, really does. And then I thought Loftus-Cheek had a good first half, and then I thought he had a great second half because he was able to kind of go forward and have the ability to move forward and take people on. And we talked about that earlier today, but yeah, it's just different. Kova provides something different to that lineup, and that helps a lot.
And going back to when we got most excited, it was both RLC's runs. That was probably the most exciting thing that happened in the first half, were both of his runs. I think he made the correct decisions. They just, when you pass one to Timo, we kind of expect what's going to happen there. And the other one, I think he went to Kai. But I mean, like, he's making the right decisions. He's taking defenders on, making great turns, very technically sound, and he's creating opportunity. And that's something that we don't see as much out of from Jorginho, because obviously he's more of a central defensive mid, so you're not going to see him make darting runs or anything like that. We know that. Conte, you can see it a little bit when he's healthy and able to run, but I don't trust him in the attacking third because his passing is not great. But yeah, I mean, when you throw out that combination of Kova and RLC, you got two guys that can bomb up and down the pitch, two guys that are technically sound, two guys that can create on their own and alleviate pressure by themselves and not have to necessarily pass out of it. So it forces other teams that are running, all 11 behind the ball. It forces them to at least respect the fact that one of them can easily open up the midfield and break out right away. So you have to definitely respect that. And I like the combination of both of them out there in the second half.
There are not many times when I watch Conte play and I say, like, I would rather have anyone else but Conte out there. You know what I mean? Like, when I watch Conte play, I usually say, like, he's the best man out there. But when I watched Loftus-Cheek out there today, I fully believed that he was the right man out there today. And I thought that if Conte was out there or Jorginho was out there instead of him, that they wouldn't be able to do the things that he did out there. And that's a turning point for his role. Mm-hmm. Like, he finally kind of took that and made that his own, where he was the person I would rather see out there than any of those three or any of those two, because Kova alongside helps that move be plausible. But he was the guy I wanted out there.
Yeah, it's kind of been like a coming of age for RLC. We've been high on him for a while. Parker, you longer than both of us, but to finally see him get a fair shake and to see what he can do when given the opportunity, and regardless of what position he plays, because we all know he's been playing multiple positions, but he's capitalizing on those opportunities, right? Again, we talk about the loan army. Sometimes you just need a chance. And I think right now, this season, he got his chance. And I think he's making a very strong argument if we decide to move on from Jorginho and Conte in the offseason. He's making a very strong case to be a starting midfielder next season alongside Kovacic. And then whatever happens with Conor Gallagher, as much as I love him, I don't see Billy G necessarily making the squad. I see him going back out on loan. He is 20, I believe.
Really?
19 or 20. So give him another year. He's 21. Hopefully you can get him some more minutes with a Premier League side, or a mid-table team somewhere else, in one of the top 5 clubs in Europe. Let him develop out there and then bring him back and see what he can do. I mean, we saw what he could do when he was 18. And it's unfortunately his season with Norwich. He had some injuries. Obviously, the previous manager before Dean Smith wasn't a fan of playing loanies on his team, because then they're going to be gone next year. So he had that to deal with. But yeah, I think Tuchel does a good job of giving people a fair shake. And I'm happy to see that Ruben Loftus-Cheek has thrived when presented with those chances.
So talking about Tuchel is I don't know why he can't figure out a system to beat the low block, to beat 11 men in their own side. Because every time we face it looks like sorry ball, and not the good sorry ball. I know a lot of people think sorry ball as a whole was trash, but depending on the day, depending on who was out there, depending on how well rested we were, sorry ball looked okay. But just these teams playing the low block, it's just pass sideways, pass sideways, pass sideways, pass back, all the way back to Mendy, try it again, kick a ball upfield and right at the keeper. I don't get it. I don't know why. Like, I know our attackers aren't great, but like today, for example, why not put Ram in there at half or in the 50th or whatever for Timo, allow Kai to play off of him as that second striker, Mace to play right behind them, and then you bring Ziyech on at a later point. Like, what has Pulisic done lately to show you that he can do something? At least what we saw in the first half and the first quarter of an hour of the second half was that we can get balls in, right? We got, even if it was just kind of blindly whipping a ball into the box. Why not put somebody who's going to distract Yerry Mina? Get him off of Kai Havertz. Why not? Why did you break that up? Like, I could tell from the 30th minute that Kai was going to have a shit game because he was too distracted by Yerry Mina. Why would you not put somebody in there who is going to distract that 5 at the back from Everton? Regardless of if he's going to score any goals, I had no faith in Ram to score any goals, but he's going to attract attention. Timo Werner does not.
But Kai did, right? So Kai attracted that attention, and you drew him, and people couldn't play around that. So if you have like Ramen for Kai and then he does the same thing, I don't understand like where that comes from.
No, not Ramen for Kai, Ramen for Timo. We were playing 2 at the top. Allow Kai to play off of Ram. Well, free him up with space, which is where he works well in.
So split Mina between the two?
Yeah. So instead of Mina and Mason Holgate like draped all over Kai's shoulders, and then Coleman only has to worry about Timo Werner because Timo Werner is not going to do anything. Then you have Yerry Mina in the middle having to split the difference between Kai and Ram.
Yeah, but we've also seen, and Collins, you're probably the first one to point this out. Anytime that Ram is in the game, the whole dynamic changes. Everything is targeted to him. So if you're talking about Ram coming in up top and Kai playing off of him, if Ram is the target man and he's being draped by whoever, and our offense is already relatively stagnant, what advantage does that play besides just occupying Yerry Mina? Which I was already doing.
What you just said is exactly what I'm looking for. The offense is already stagnant. why not throw somebody out there who's, going to take up space, going to take up a defender and change something? Pulisic and Timo basically in this match were the same person. I knew Pulisic was subbed on, but I didn't see him do anything different than Timo Werner. I thought he was Timo Werner for large stretches. That was a like for like swap. If you're going to make a change, why not change something that's going to change your offense? Even if it doesn't get any better, instead of just making like swaps and hoping the system gets better, you're making a change that's making the defense adjust. Which, in any sport, that's what you're trying to do, right? You're trying to make the defense adjust.
Yeah, but with Ramen, the offense gets even more stagnant.
Right, but
Everton's taking a stagnant offense and making it more stagnant.
I don't think it could be more stagnant. If anything, if anything, you're passing the ball to the top of the box where Ram has his back towards goal, and you've got Mason doing his weird floaty thing all over the place. You got Kai doing a floaty thing. So there, even if Ram is then trying to distribute instead of trying to turn and score, which you're at least getting those options, unlike whipping in blind crosses for 45 minutes, like we saw in that second half.
I thought I respectfully disagree. We've seen what Ram can't do, which unfortunately is a lot more than he can do.
But haven't we seen the same with Pulisic?
So the idea of Pulisic and Timo, like, who else were you going to put out there?
Ram
can't distribute for shit.
That's not somebody who distributes. The position that Timo in was not somebody.
You said with him at his back, right?
Yeah.
Goal at his back. What's he going to do? He's not going to turn on anybody. And if he does, he damn sure ain't putting the ball on target. He can't distribute or link up with anybody.
I know. And I'm saying that at least changes the look. That makes Frank Lampard adjust. That makes Yerry Mina. That makes Coleman. That makes Holgate adjust, which they didn't have to do the whole fucking match. They just sat back and, gave little knocks to Kai. And Timo Werner wasn't even in the fucking box the whole goddamn match. Like, what good is it having him up there? Pulisic wasn't even in the goddamn box, and that's what he's good at. So if you're going to make that swap, why make a swap for somebody who is literally going to be the exact same as what is unsuccessful on the pitch?
Because at our best, we should be able to beat Everton.
But we're not at our best.
That's why we made the change, the like for like change, as we did. We did not execute at our best, but we should have been able to execute at our best. Like we should be able to, on any given 90 minutes with a lineup that we played to start or subbed in, we should be able to beat Everton. We should be able to. We did not, but we should be able to.
And we've heard that a lot this year, and it's been teams throwing the low block because we don't have guys who have a spine. Kai Havertz showed a little fight today, but he was very, very clearly rattled by it. Missed a couple easy chances. But everybody else, Timo Werner, Mr. Afraid of Contact, again, didn't see. We lined up with a 2-striker system today. I didn't see Timo Werner in the box once.
I thought Timo played incredibly poorly as a whole. But the problem I see is that when we've played Rom, like what we see as like ideal for like how a Rom system works doesn't come out. That's the biggest problem for me, is like we see it being a certain way, and when we sub him in or when we have him in to start or to sub in, like it just doesn't work out the way we want it to work out. And then we play apologist on the backside of what didn't work. And Rom doesn't work in our system. So that's why I have a hard time, and I see Matt's face right now. Matt has a hard time saying that Rom in there is a better option because I don't think it is. And that's the hard part. That's the hard part to get behind. Is Rom's not a good option.
I'm not saying that it would have worked. I'm not saying we would have won if we would have done it, but it at least would have forced an inexperienced manager with a relegation battled side to do something different. And make some tough decisions. I thought Tuchel got out coached. I think the book is out there on Tuchel now, and has been for quite some time, that if you want to beat Chelsea, you park it all in your goddamn half. Because we can't get past it. We can't. And I'm not saying every single time you put Rom in there for that, because like you said, Rom doesn't necessarily fit the system. But I thought in this instance, where things were getting chippy, where things were getting rough, where things were getting violent, having a guy of his stature, regardless of how he plays or regardless of his goal scoring record or anything like that, occupies the minds of some guys who play for a relegation battled team. So not very high IQ guys, not very well, physically skilled guys. It's gonna, and I love Frank Lampard, but he is not a great manager.
No. And what I've got to say about that is I feel like if we don't have Thomas Tuchel managing this team, we lose 3-0. So I don't think it's Thomas Tuchel getting out managed in this match. I really don't. I know that that's the common theme. And that's what's going on Twitter is did Tuchel get out managed? And I don't think he did. I think Thomas Tuchel managed a pretty decent match, but Thomas Tuchel can't finish. Thomas Tuchel can't create. Thomas Tuchel can't do those things on the pitch to see the result. I with the proper people out there, I think we win pretty handily, man. Like I think we win pretty all right.
Yeah,
I don't think Everton fucking took it to us today. I think we made a pretty bad defensive error, and then we didn't finish. We had 75% of possession, and we didn't create, and we didn't finish when we had the chances to. But like that's not Thomas Tuchel's fault. I don't think he got outmanaged.
No, but if you're a world-class manager, you have world-class players, you have world-class, you've won the Champions League, you've won the European Cup, the World Cup, all of that. You're getting all these plaudits and whatnot. How can you not scheme? How can you not motivate your guys? How can you not get your guys to buy in to something that's going to beat the low block? How many times have we been beaten by it this year? At least twice a month. At least twice a month. And I'm not convinced that if it's not Tuchel, we're losing or anything like that. I think if it's Antonio Conte, I think we're fine. I think if it's probably not sorry, but I think even Lampard probably coaches that team to win because Lampard was more loosey-goosey, let it flow, whatever. But again,
that's where I disagree. That's where I disagree because I think like managerial experience is only going to get you so far. And we saw what happened with Lampard last year, and the bad turned to worse, like under Lampard. It didn't get better. It wasn't a 1-0 defeat. It was a 4-0 defeat. And we were completely blown out of a game like that. So I don't to put it on Tuchel is a tough one for me. That's where I start to draw the line. I think we get completely outmanaged when it's someone else, when it's Sarri or Mourinho or Lampard or someone else. I think we lose a lot more in this game than we did 1-0.
All right, Matt, go ahead.
This is fun. All right. Let me go back to Rom. You're talking about somebody that the defense has to respect. We don't even respect Rom. Let's just get that out of the way. You really think Everton's going to respect him? Fuck no. He's
okay. I want to make note of that one because I'm coming back to that one. So
I'll elaborate. I'll elaborate a little bit further. Ram is what, 6'4", 220? Something like that, somewhere in that
Give or
ballpark.
take. Yeah.
So you're telling me in a game that is getting chippy, scrappy, physical, you're telling me that throwing out Ram, somebody who doesn't give two monkeys nutsacks about Chelsea at this point, you're telling me that he's going to go out there and start scrapping? He can barely go up against defenders that he should be bodying day in and day out. You're going to tell me with a straight face that Ram is going to be able to go forward and actually give a shit to play this match and to get into some physical scraps with a larger center back? No, absolutely not. There is no way in hell he would ever do that. That's just not Ram. That's not where he is right now. He would be a 6'4", 220-pound waste of space. That's all he would be. He doesn't pose a threat. We don't even think he's a threat. No other team is really going to think he's a threat. So what advantage do you gain in that? I understand a little bit what you're saying about, well, it'll switch up the system a little bit and it'll give him something else to focus on. You might as well just kept Timo out there then. He at least will run and try and give a shit. He'll at least do that. Not Ram. No way. There is no way in hell that Ram. I would have rather seen Thomas Tuchel lace up some fucking boots and get out there himself over seeing Ram.
All right.
Go ahead.
Number one, the respect thing. Yes, no, we don't. You, me, Parker, we don't respect Ram. I absolutely 100% agree with that. But every time Ram comes on the pitch, he's got two guys draped over his shoulder. Every time. It doesn't matter. And then we don't give him the ball, but he still has 1 to 2 guys on his shoulders. That's what I'm saying. Everton lined up today, 5 defenders, 4 midfielders. That's a clusterfuck outside that box. And with Timo just running around doing nothing, he's not occupying anyone. You got Reece James down the right. He's occupying. You saw he had 2-3 guys on him consistently. Same with Alonso on the left. Same with Mace in the middle. It was only when Kova came on that things kind of opened up in the middle. So what I'm saying is you bring Ram on, all of a sudden 2 of those defenders are occupied instead of playing a zone and having 3 guys out on Reece. Now you've got Reece on some one-on-ones. Now you've got Havertz able to slip into seams, which he could not do. Now you've got Mason. Mason is excellent at making those little sneaky runs. Now you've got windows for him to go because Ram has 2 people at his back. I'm not saying Ram was going to score. I'm not saying Ram would necessarily change the game, but you're making Everton do things that they did not plan for, that you're making them guess. And in a game as chippy as that, and I'm not saying Ram would have gotten into a fight, I'm just saying that he is a big-bodied individual who automatically is going to be someone who demands attention. We've seen him fake get into fights before, right? So I'm not saying that he's gonna be like Havertz and pushing over Yerry Mina, but he's gonna be somebody who's gonna be there. I didn't see Timo Werner in a single one of those things. Timo Werner was a nothing today. We played with 10 men because Timo was just out on an island on his own. So what I'm saying is you at least change the system. If I hate when people say this, but I'm going to say it. You know what the definition of insanity is? Trying the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result. That's what Tuchel's doing by putting Pulisic on for Timo. It's the same player.
Pulisic did better than Timo did in the 20 minutes that he was on the pitch.
Oh, it's not hard to do better, but it
But
wasn't.
he did better.
But he in no way impacted the game.
And I hear you, and I think you're correct. In theory land, I think you're correct. But I don't like. I also like this is my like least favorite thing that happens when like Robbie Earl will talk about Chelsea have a player like Romelu Lukaku who when he's in form he's a fantastic striker. Yeah, but he's not in form. So why the fuck are you talking like he's in form? Because he's not. You know, if we also had Leo Messi in form, he would also be the greatest player in the world, but he's not. So like people talk about Rom like he's in form and he's the greatest player in the world, but he's not in form, and therefore he's not the great Rom that we know. And so like when you talk about guys, when you talk about informed guys, when you talk about people in the system, it comes with a grain of salt because they're not the impact players that you might think they are, or that the announcers think that they are. And when Robbie Earl talks about fucking Rom, I fucking puke. I really do. Like I'm just like, he's not who you think he is. He's not that player. You just think he's that player because that's like the player on paper that you analyze. And it just like, it drives me insane because they talk about him like they're an impact player. And I'm just like, man, they're not, because if you've watched them play the last couple of matches, they don't do what you think they're going to do. And so this drives me insane because I want them to be that player. We signed Romelu Lukaku to be that player and to be that impact, to be the change that we want there. And we don't see that when he comes on. And I hate that. I hate that we have that on the bench and then we put him in and then he doesn't do anything like that because he just like, you know, congests our offense and he just like slows things up and then he turns things over. And I know what he's going to do 10 seconds before he does that. And then the defense knows what he's going to do as well. And then he turns it over. It's annoying. He's annoying. He is the most annoying player I've ever seen play for Chelsea.
I agree. I hate when they come on and they're like, oh, you know, if they'd play Lukaku, or oh, why is he sitting on the bench? Like, yeah, I agree. That makes me puke in my mouth a little bit. But I want to clarify because I feel like you guys are taking what I'm saying and making it mean something else. I'm not saying he would have scored. I'm not saying he would have assisted. I'm not saying he would have directly impacted the game. All I'm asking him to do is to, like he has all season, have two guys on his back.
Mm-hmm.
That I think that would have changed the game completely. So
a real game changer. Throw Rudi in at striker.
Throw Reece James in at striker.
Yeah, do something freaking crazy. Then let's really test Frank and his managerial skills. Throw him some wicked ass curveball like that. I would have loved to have seen Rudi against Yuri Mina. Could you imagine the shithousery between those two? Oh, that would have been just entertainment for hours. That would have been so much fun to watch.
You know who would have done well in our attack is Richarlison.
Stop.
It's going to happen. They're going to get relegated. We're going to get them on a free.
I don't even.
The most frustrating part about today was the fact that they created the same amount or more scoring chances out of 25% of the possession, and we had 75% possession. Like they created the exact same amount of chances to score than we did. And part of me thinks like shame on us, but also part of me thinks like good on them because they did that. They created those chances and they created pretty good chances against us. And the chances we gave up, one was really bad, which is the goal, but the other ones were fair chances. So it's shame on us, man. It's not, they didn't do anything against us that we shouldn't have done against them. It's shame on us. We didn't perform.
I'm not getting into the Richarlison debate right now.
I know. I was trying to bait
I
you.
haven't had enough bourbon for that.
Just trying to bait you.
Oh, don't worry. There was a lot going through my head as soon as you brought out his name. We'll see how quickly this glass becomes empty and I need a refill.
Hot after dark.
Hot after blackout.
Yeah. I agree. Like, again, it's nothing new, right? It's something we haven't seen before. At the end of the day, it's on us, and we've been at this for a while, talking about how inconsistent our attack is and how many chances we miss. Collins, I'm sure you can find this rather quickly. I'm sure we lead the Premier League in missed opportunities or missed chances.
I was actually just looking at that the other day. Let me hold on. Yeah, I'll bring it up. Keep going.
Yeah.
I doubt it because I don't think we create enough chances.
No, we're third in the league in shots.
Yeah. And the three of us are first in Chelsea supporters in shots. So, amen. Yeah. But again, it's just lack of finishing. We know Timo can't unless, the keeper is, on the other side of the pitch or still in the locker room and he's, half a yard out, then we can trust Timo to put that away. And that's not even 100% positive.
Timo is 6th in the league in big chances missed. Or no, sorry, that was last year. Hold on. Well, Kai Havertz is our leader. He's 9th in the league. Big chances missed.
Yep. And the thing is, he's been our best striker. And that's not even an argument.
And that's the hard part was like the last two matches, he's squandered some pretty good opportunity. Like I know when people use XG as a pretty faithful stat as how to look at these things, but Kai's had some pretty good expected goals in the last two matches and has not been able to convert them.
Agreed. And so that's where I go a little bit further. And you can't expect Kai to do everything, right? You can't rely on him for everything. He's going to have great runs of form. He's going to have bad runs of form, right? We saw it with Mount. We expected so much from him, and then he was non-existent for like a month and a half. And we're like, what the hell happened? That's where I look at it with Kai. Those are chances that in the last 3 months, we would expect him to easily bury. No questions, but at the same time, sometimes you hit bad runs of form and it just happens like that. Unfortunately, Timo has been on more bad runs than good runs in his Chelsea career. I don't know if Ram knows how to spell a good run. Mount has been playing well as of late, probably the last month and a half, 2 months. He's been playing well. Christian, again, very sporadic. Ziyech, up until he got injured, was on a great run. And now he's, kind of fighting for minutes, which I still don't completely understand. Because if you're looking to create chances or you need people who are clinical, you're going to want Mount on the left, Kai up top, and Ziyech on the right. I think that's the best chance that you have. But again, we're still relying on our wing backs, our center backs to be the ones scoring and almost kind of carrying the load. And it's just not something that you look for when you have that much talent and that much money up top in your front three, both on the pitch and on the bench. You expect goals and you expect consistent runs of form. Not saying you have to be outstanding, but you expect consistent, right? And right now, there is just no consistency. We are too across the board with good runs of form, bad runs of form. And unfortunately, it seems like everybody hits a bad run of form at the same time, which makes everything look like shit.
Everyone hits a bad run of form except when Ruben Loftus-Cheek decides to play his best soccer.
Yeah.
That is my least favorite thing in the world, because then he's playing like, oh, I'm Champions League final, Ruben Loftus-Cheek. Everyone else should be too, and no one else is ready to match his form, which is fucking frustrating.
So is he really playing well, or is he just playing better than shit?
He's playing better than shit, but if you think like, if everyone else was playing better than him, which in realistic like terms, everyone should be playing better than him. If you think about it, like, he shouldn't be the best person on the pitch. So if everyone else was playing better than him, we'd be scoring 8 a game. That's how I think of it. Because he's playing well. Like, he's playing well enough to be that guy, and no one else is.
I would say right now, our top 5 most consistent players when we talk about form, you know what you're going to get day in and day out. I would say Mendy. I would say Thiago Silva. Not necessarily in this order. I want to throw that out there. I would say Mendy, Silva, Kova, Reece James, and at that point, Kai
and Mount
or Mount. Yeah, like, I think those would be your what you can expect from day in, day out as being consistent and consistently good, right? I'm not talking 9s, but I'm talking like 7, 5, right in that range. You can expect that out of them constantly.
Yeah, it's Rudiger, Silva, Mount, Mendy, those 4 for sure. Maybe Reece James, but those guys are the guys who you know what you're getting.
Yeah,
game in, game out.
It's funny because I'm hearing what you guys are saying, and I'm looking at our man of the match polls and how those line up, and you guys are pretty close on that. Like, those 2 ideas line up pretty well. Because your top 5 are Silva, Mount, Havertz, Rudiger, Ziyech.
Yeah, I mean, Ziyech, when he was in his good run of form and before he had that ankle injury, yeah, I mean,
but
he was untouchable.
Ziyech, even since coming on as a sub, you know what you're going to get out of him.
Yeah,
you know you're going to get a couple XGs out of him.
No, he's been great, and I think we all would like to see more of him out there on a more regular basis.
Hopefully soon. I mean, at this point, he might as well, because Timo ain't doing shit. He had his good streak over the last month. He had a pretty decent run. For him, that might as well be an eternity.
I didn't see it, so it didn't happen.
Plead the 5th.
I
didn't see
literally
nothing.
the games that I didn't watch were the games that apparently Timo was God, and so I didn't see it, so it didn't fucking happen.
I'm curious to know. All right, so every time that Matt only watches a game, like it's a shitty game, right? Every time Parker doesn't watch, Timo scores. Like I'm curious to see what other trends form. And we're at the end of the season, so it's like whatever. But I'm curious to know what else happens.
I don't know, because the games that I didn't get to see were literally the only like run of form Timo's ever had, and he won man of the match 3 times in a row when I didn't. 4 times in a row. Thank you, Collins. When I didn't watch him play, and I don't believe it. Like I don't believe that he was that good. I don't care. I don't care what y'all saw. I don't believe it.
Timo Werner, for reference, has won 6 man of the matches this year. He's only been on the pole 8 times.
How many times has he been on man that gets the fuck out of here?
Hold on.
Because
he's been on that 5 times.
yeah. So how many times has he been on the other side of the house?
Whereas Thiago Silva has been on the pole 23 times this year.
Probably never on the get the fuck out of here.
He might have once. I gotta look. Nope,
He
never
probably
has.
didn't even win.
Never has been.
Yeah. It never will be.
Nope.
Pay that man because we can't pay Rudiger anymore.
Right.
I'm ready in talks with his brother, so I'm gonna see if I can turn that around. It's first order of business.
Rest in peace to the pay that man.
Yep.
It still might happen.
Yeah, it's
know,
possible.
It sounds like it's not an extraordinary amount of money that he's going to Real for. So
Apparently Chelsea offered him more per week. We just didn't want to pay all the bonuses and agent fees and family fees. And it also sounds like Rudiger was basically out as soon as Chelsea offered him. What was it, 170,000 back in December? I've read some reports that Rudiger was basically unhappy at that point and decided he was going.
yeah, which makes sense. And the end deal might be about the same, right? On like a annualized basis, but it might be front loaded where he's getting more in year 1, and then it's a 4-year deal, and he might get less on the back end. But when you annualize it, it might be the same amount. But yeah, the agent fees and then the additional fees, the player fees and everything are on top of that, and whatever. It sucks when it's like in striking range of what you were thinking of for a club. It sucks, but I don't know if Chelsea were able to give him a 4-year deal. Like he's 29 years old, so I don't know if we were planning on giving him a 4-year deal as well. So that comes into my mind as first on the chopping block of was that on the table from Chelsea?
So I sent both you boys this. According to Marca, so it was a 6.7 million pound sign-on fee that split into quarters and paid annually, added on to a $7.6 million pound base pay per season, which basically breaks down to 145,000 pounds a week.
Yeah, over 4 years.
And Chelsea offered him 200,000 pounds per week. But over again, we don't know the length. We don't know the length. But even so, if you look at that from a 3-year versus 200,000 pounds per week for 3 years versus 145 for 4.
The thing is, I don't know if Chelsea offered him 3. Just knowing the way the club operates, it wouldn't surprise me if it was a 2-year plus an option. which is even then, technically to 3-year, but it's even less guaranteed.
Yeah.
But like we're seeing with Dave.
I mean, it's a bit of a sore subject after today's game, is bringing up his name. A little bit of a sore subject. Everybody makes a mistake. It's always tough when it's your captain, your leader, the man that's been there seemingly forever. It's always tough when he's the one that caused the mistake and ultimately the game. It's tough. But I still think that having him for an extra year is going to be a sneaky good, pickup. I really do. He's still going to be able to work with Reese. He's still going to be able to play a center back position if he needs to. Switch out with Reese during games. I see him being more of a cup player in this final year. I definitely see that a lot more as he kind of transitions out and maybe heads back to Spain. But it's tough.
The thing I worry about with Dave, though, talking about ideal world, Parker.
Theory land.
Yeah, theory land. Thank you. That's all very theory land. We're in a World Cup year now. And how old's Dave? 32? This may 33, something like that. This is going to be his last chance at a World Cup. There's no way he's going to want to be especially with how competitive the Spanish national team is, no way he's going to want to be a cup only, not a first teamer at Chelsea. And yes, his contract, auto renewed for another year, but we've seen that doesn't guarantee shit in football other than, that you're not leaving for a free. With his service to the club, I'm kind of resigned to the fact that he's probably gone this summer. He's surplus to requirements on the right side, especially now that we've seen Ruben Loftus-Cheek can play there.
Parker, what says you?
No, I don't think so. I think he plays a pretty big role in our club next year. Like I think he plays more games than he doesn't play.
Where though?
Right center back.
Yeah, I mean, depending on how quickly this ownership group decides to get into the market, we may need a center back.
I think he plays right center back. And then he will float as needed right wing back, but I think he plays right center back for Christensen primarily, or
Trev.
or Trev in that spot. But you've got Thiago Silva as your center back. He's going to need some breaks. You've got Dave, and then you've got to fill holes, around that, right? You've got Rudi gone, and then you got some holes to fill, right? It's not. We don't know exactly how we line up next year, so I think he plays more games than he doesn't. I think he actually plays a pretty big role in our squad next year, and then. And then after that, I think he bows out, and I think he features and then makes the World Cup squad for Spain. Plays a pretty big role. So we're gonna miss him then in December because, hey, fun fact, the World Cup is during our season next year. So that's gonna be really fun to fucking talk about next year because I'm gonna hate every second of that because Qatar, because FIFA. So yeah, yay to that already. I fucking hate that already. And so I think he plays a pretty big role in our squad, and then a pretty big gap in our squad when we need him.
So Matt, was it you I was talking with? We were talking about 5-year window
Yeah.
So this week I was looking at Chelsea's roster because it was like, I know we have a bunch of young guys, but it was like I feel like our squad is older than what we think, and it is time for a turnover. I skipped the goalie position because Kepa is probably your most tenured. He's only been here 4 years, 4 years. And keepers are weird, but Rudiger's been here for 5 years. Alonso 6. Christensen, he's an academy guy, so he's been here forever. But Dave has been here for a decade. Jorginho's been here 5 years, and N'Golo Kante 6. Saul doesn't count. Ross Barkley's been here 4 years. Yeah, big middle finger to him. And then the attack is all still pretty new and fresh, and we all know how we paid so much money for them, and that worked out well. But it's about time for a rework. I don't know if a new ownership group comes in and agrees. We've seen Boley in LA splash cash for veterans. I don't know if I want that at Chelsea. I don't know if I want them renewing these guys just because they're, they play for their national team or they've been here forever and all that. Like, I want them to go out and splash cash on younger guys, on guys just entering their prime. Like, no more building around these young guys. Like, go out, execute a 5-year plan around a guy who's 26, 27, entering his prime, and like get the best out of players, not, try to build them up to a certain point. I mean, also do some of that because youth is exciting, but primarily, like, I want those guys coming into their prime.
Who the number one person who you just named would be?
No.
Chiesa.
No. No, I don't want a guy just coming off a knee surgery.
No, he is
Fine.
25, 26, entering his prime. That is exactly
And entering his prime after sitting out a year with knee surgery. No, don't
Fine.
want it.
You know what? Then we might as well sell Benny Chills.
But you already had, like, you're not paying extra but you already have him.
He's coming off a knee surgery.
Right. But again, you're not spending extra money to get him.
Chiesa is exactly who you want.
I don't want anyone from Serie A ever again. I don't. Saw Tammy Abraham here go through giant droughts of not scoring and then goes and lights up Serie A and the Conference League, which a lot of people overlook. You have Ram, who is okay in Premier League, and then goes to Serie A and tears it up, and then we spend $100 million on him. Like, Serie A can be on an island somewhere else. We are much better at scouting France, and I would rather we just go poach people from France. Neymar. Tell me you don't want Neymar on this team.
I don't want Neymar on this team.
Ooh, so speaking of Brazilians, I saw a rumor this week. Gabriel Jesus.
No.
I saw that as well.
What do you mean, no?
No.
What? Why?
Finishing.
Yeah.
He doesn't solve the problem.
He can't thrive in a system with Pep. If you can't thrive in that system without, and you're a striker, and the whole running joke with City has been, oh, they don't have a striker, but they're still destroying teams. And you are technically a striker. And you're telling me you cannot thrive in that environment with that kind of expertise. That's bad.
He squanders too many opportunities.
We have guys that can do that we are already overpaying for.
He has 95 goals and 230 appearances for Manchester City. Name someone on our squad who has a similar record in the Premier League.
He won't score those goals.
No, but he fits the system perfectly. He fits exactly how we play perfectly.
Yeah, spoiling missed opportunities. We know the system. We all watch.
It might be missing a lot of opportunities, but again, he's scoring in nearly 50%, probably about 44% of the games that he's playing. Most of those in a substitute role.
I would rather have Kevin De Bruyne, who is the one creating a lot of those opportunities for people to miss, than having the guy who misses them.
Kevin De Bruyne coming out of his prime.
I would rather have him.
Yep.
Because Kevin De Bruyne has plenty of people who misses off of his opportunities, his goals and opportunities every single week. I need the guy who creates the opportunities. I don't need the person to squander those opportunities. We have plenty of people who can squander opportunities. Plenty.
Collins, as you would say, we have a surplus at that.
Not after Parker and I were talking today. We're just going to have Kai Havertz and Mason Mount, and that's it.
Those are the guys I would build around. It's just,
and maybe Cho. We haven't decided on Cho.
Cho's too young to figure out today.
Well, tell me if Pulisic leaves, like, it seems like his dad is implying maybe he should, going into a World Cup year. If Rom leaves, like we all want him to, Ziyech is your probably backup right winger, right? Because you're going to have Mace, Havertz. Cho is then left as your left winger. You wouldn't want Gabriel Jesus on the left over Cho? Cho, who has 4 goals and nearly 100 Premier League appearances.
But we already have Cho.
Fair enough.
Would I rather have him? I probably. If I have to pick between the two, sure, I'd probably pick Jesus.
But do I want to spend that kind of
But
money?
yeah, but do I want to spend for him? Probably not. Like,
what are you spending on? He's on a free.
Yeah, so this is where I look at, like, Callum's got upside, that unfulfilled upside today. He's not the player he's going to be today. Like, he has potential. We've seen good things out of him. We've seen positives. We just haven't seen the consistency. I don't think we've seen, like, ultimately what he can do. So it's a question mark for Callum. And I think we know a little bit more about Jesus than we do Callum. So you want to roll the dice, like, then you roll the dice with Callum. If you're willing to gamble, I think you'd play Callum. Because I think he's got a high upside. I just don't know if he's going to get there.
My only question is, where would Gabriel Jesus play if Chiesa is going to be there? So Chiesa's already there.
But Chiesa can play anywhere. He can play any position. So why would you?
But he's going to thrive on the left. He's going to thrive on the left. I think
Chiesa's on the left.
I think Chiesa's on the left, and Gabriel Jesus maybe is backup, maybe a Kai backup. I don't know, but I don't think he's going to start.
Yeah, that also depends on when Chiesa comes back from that knee surgery. By the way, Chiesa has played 86% of his games at right wing.
He can play either wing. He torched us when he played left wing.
86% of his games at right wing.
I know. And the 14%, one of those 14%, he absolutely destroyed us.
In the 46th minute.
Yeah, in his unnatural position, he destroyed us.
Does that say more about him or more about us?
Yes.
All I know is I'm not paying $75 million for a guy who is, his whole game is built off of his work ethic and how much he runs and all that. And he's coming off of knee surgery that has had him out for what's going to be a year. That's talking about gambling. That's too much of a gamble.
Nope.
It's a gamble. I'll give you that. I'm not.
And for a guy who plays in a league that we have seen is completely non-translatable to the Premier League.
It's what's weird is like it's translatable against the Premier League, but it's not like translatable to the Premier League. So there's something weird about it, right? Because these guys do well against us. I mean, you can't look at Benzema and say he doesn't do well against us. Like he does. And Vinny and these guys do well against us. So they're not like, but then the week in, week out Premier League schedule or whatever it is, like, or our system, the way we play, it's just different. So there's something to be said there. I don't know exactly what that is or how that translates out, but there's something weird in that.
But then you look and, when was the last time an Italian team was in the round of 16 of the champion, like, or the quarterfinals, the Champions League? Like it very much comes off as like it's just us thing. I don't know why, but it's like you see all these other Italian teams struggle in the Champions League, and then we play one and we can manage a point.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Spanish teams get the better of us, right?
Yes, Spain I would put on almost a level pegging as the Premier League.
I would say top 6, I would put on level pegging. I wouldn't say top to bottom.
Well, yes, ideally, if you have Watford playing Cadiz, I don't know if Cadiz is in the top flight or not, but just as an example,
Barcelona down there now.
But you see the Barças, the Real Madrids, the Atleticos lose to bottom of the table teams just as much as you see in England.
To Getafe and Mallorca.
To El Suco.
Espanyol. But I mean, at the same time, Spanish sides do pretty well in Europa. A lot better than Premier League teams, unless it's Chelsea. But at the same time, it's usually one of those top 6 teams. So I would say top 6.
Yeah,
you could argue is very comparable, but after that, I mean, I would personally think that I don't even know who's last in La Liga right now, but I would put some money on, like, I don't know, like a Southampton beating like Mallorca or something like that.
Levante is last in La Liga.
Now I'm curious to see, you do like a like-to-like match, who wins it. I don't know enough about the lower part of La Liga, but like, 20th against 20th, Levante against Norwich, or 10 against 10, you got Valencia against Newcastle. Like I'd be, what is it, the Big Ten and the ACC do that every year in college basketball, where it's like
the ACC challenge.
The winner plays the winner, second place plays second. Like I would love to see Premier League and La Liga do that as like a preseason kind of deal, but like
crossover.
Yeah, make them actually play their best players.
Valencia versus Newcastle is super interesting. Like that feels like it leans towards Spain to me,
right? Or what about?
It feels like Newcastle's outperformed 10th or is better than, or performing better than Valencia would be.
West Ham against Villarreal.
7th.
That'd be a good one.
Mm-hmm.
West Ham.
It would be a good match though.
Oh yeah, like they would be very good. So maybe not top 6, but you look at the top half. But yeah, I mean, they're all very intriguing. I just don't think top to bottom.
Yeah, I get your point, but it's at least intriguing. Like the matchups are intriguing when you look at the full list.
Yeah,
I'm just happy to hear that you think I'm intriguing.
I'd say the top half of La Liga are teams that I don't know in what situation, but they're teams that I would trust. Like they'd be decent teams. Like just looking at the table, looking at the Premier League, I don't know if I go past 12th. So maybe the Premier League has a spot or two advantage, but from Villa on down to Norwich is pretty garbage. Even if I'm pretty sure they've all taken points off of us, haven't they? Except Southampton.
Correct.
And Norwich.
Yeah.
But do you trust Newcastle in that?
I trust them more now, and I think that's maybe because of the long-term outlook.
Because who's in ninth?
Ninth is
Brighton.
I trust Brighton to win a game.
I don't trust Brighton. I don't trust Wolverhampton. I trust 7 and up. If I'm looking at the table, I trust 7 and up. I don't trust Wolves.
Brighton. Who would Brighton play in La Liga?
Brighton would play
9
Osasuna.
versus Osasuna.
Oh yeah, that's Brighton all day.
Let's see. 12 would be Celta Vigo against Crystal Palace.
11 is Leicester.
Leicester against Rayo Vallecano.
Yeah, Leicester.
Let's see. All right, so we did 10. We did 9. 8 is Bilbao against Wolves. That would actually be a really good matchup.
And so that gets interesting because you have Spain against Portugal.
Right.
So that gets interesting.
Both very continental.
Yeah. I would. Bilbao is tricky.
Iñaki.
Yeah, Bilbao is tricky, but then again, so is Wolverhampton. Flip a coin.
Can we get Iñaki Williams at Chelsea?
Oh, I'm all about it.
Sneaky good.
Yep.
All right, so we did West Ham Villarreal at 7. 6 is Sociedad against Man U.
United.
That's a prime Europa League matchup.
Yeah.
And I think I toss a coin on that one.
And then you have Tottenham, who I fucking hate Tottenham. I don't trust them for a second.
And they
5 versus Betis.
Yeah, that's
Spurs.
That's Spurs.
I just don't trust. If I'm a betting man, I'm not betting on Spurs.
Would you be okay with the option if we are talking about a left wing? If we take Heung-min Son, if we were able to get him.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
All day. Our left side, we need as much help on as we can.
Mm-hmm.
I see him being a duplicate, maybe a little bit better of a duplicate, but so not worth the price tag of Mason Mount. I think they play very similar position, have very similar traits. But like you said with Cho, the upside is so high. I think Mount has a higher upside.
Yeah, it depends on like what you want your like ultimate lineup to be. If you want Mount to stick behind 2 strikers or not, like if you want a pure like left wing, maybe Son isn't the best person for that. But yeah, if you're looking at him as like a duplicate to Mount, then probably not.
Matt, I think I know your answer.
Yeah, you would take him in a heartbeat.
Yeah, there we go. All right. So how about this one at 4? Arsenal against Atletico.
Atletico.
Let it go.
Yeah. 3, Sevilla against Chelsea. That's a good matchup.
It is.
Which form of Chelsea are we talking about?
Yes. Is it home or away?
Well, no. Is it 2 months ago or is it right now?
You got Barca against Liverpool.
Liverpool.
Yeah, that's Liverpool all day. Barca's in shambles.
And then Real versus City is toss up.
City.
Toss up.
City.
Either one can win home away draw.
Yeah, I agree.
City.
So yeah, I think that'd be a pretty cool competition. It'll never happen, but maybe something like what MLS and Liga MX do, the Campeones or whatever cup.
When I go talk to the head of the Premier League to give my $250 million payment, I'll mention something to him. See what they can do.
Just don't pair with Syria.
No.
Also, get the next Chelsea matches that are in the United States closer than Orlando to us.
Right.
Yeah, I'll see if they can do one at United.
Get one at Soldier Field or something.
At Alliance Field.
I'll take that.
We can play at Titan Stadium in Oshkosh.
Yes. I'm all potted out.